Hello, my name is Harit Ram and I'm currently doing my first year degree in law.
My name is Miss Putri Sofia Amir Nudin and I'm currently teaching at Taylor's University.
My name is Desmond Ho. I'm a practicing lawyer for the past 19 years.
Okay, so when you talk about experiences after learning the course of law, you understand how things are done and things are dealt with in the judiciary part of our nation, and you also understand the ins and outs of our law and how we as an individual can practice it or understand or use it for our benefits and keep ourselves safe in the eyes of the law.
So what I have gained experience in terms of after teaching law is that law is indeed a fascinating subject, and although there is a misconception that law is slow to innovate or law is slow to develop, but I truly believe when someone is passionate in making a change, a law can still be changed, and it requires a lot of support and dedication to make law change fast enough.
After about 19 years in practice, I think I've got experience in corporate work, dealing with companies, a little bit of exposure on commercial matters, again, dealing with businesses. I have actually acted also for the accused, those who have been charged for criminal cases. I've assisted employees and employers on employment matters. In general, yes, I deal a lot with people. I also do a bit of human rights work. Over the past many years I've been in practice.
So if you talk about the moment where I really felt like law is where I want to do my career, like delve my career in, is basically when I was in secondary school in Form 2. I used to debate representing my state in national levels, and that was the stepping stone for my attraction towards law, because the argumentative side of it and the way and the part of where you have to have facts to justify your opinions and thoughts really attracted me, and the field that really uses this skill is law, and I believe that I would be good in it, so that's why I took up this course.
So when I was studying law in year 2, that's when I had the passion or dream to become an academic, because I really want to change how legal education is being delivered. So right after I've graduated and I've passed the bar exam, so instead of going to practice as a lawyer, I've decided that I would like to contribute back to the academia world, probably for a while, maybe about 5 years. So that's the reason why I've decided to join academia world. But of course now it has been my 8th year and I enjoy it, so I don't mind being called as an academic.
I think if we talk about when this field is for me, there will be two parts to it. Prior to actually studying law, if the question is focused on that, prior to studying law, the yes moment for me would be when I realized that I look at my results over the years, that I have a leaning towards history, language, so not really much on science. So that's why I took up law. But when I started to practice, I realized that yes, this field is for me, because I was a bit interested in law when I first started out, and I got more passionate about it over the years when I started to do my actual cases. And when you actually get feedback from your clients, they say thank you to you, they drop a message to you. Yep. Then you know, yes, this is the field for me because I'm helping people out.
Okay, when you talk about the struggles I face as a student, is that the course itself is a draining and straining course where you have to really read a lot and memorize and be able to come up with ideas and methods on how to deal a certain situation, where you have to really memorize a lot of cases and case laws and rulings to justify or to defend yourself in a certain situation.
Being a young academic itself, it is quite challenging because it is not only you have to convince the academic community, but you also need to convince the students that you are capable of sharing your experience, sharing your knowledge, as well as sharing your passion to the students. Because ultimately, it is our aim to mold the current students so that they will be fully prepared to enter the future world of work. So I think the most important or the most struggle that I've encountered so far is to get students confident in my teaching as a young academic. But this was back in 2013 and 14 when I first embarked in teaching law.
One thing about being a lawyer and practicing is that the people actually out there, they do not actually understand the role of lawyers. So they tend to drag us into what they are involved in. So you try to be independent and neutral. You just take up a client's case, and you handle it. And then they will drag you into their own political circles or their own views on certain matters. And then they personally attack you. So yes, these are the challenges sometimes that we face because they don't take us professionally.
I'm doing my law degree in Multimedia University in Malacca.
So I studied law at University of Tasmania, and I've graduated in 2008, and subsequently I pursued my Master of Laws in Monash University in Australia in 2009, and subsequently did my bar exam and passed the bar exam.
I actually studied an external law paper, University of London, at ATC, Kemayan ATC in Petaling Street.
So in Multimedia University in Malacca, you need a B plus or B and above in English and Sejarah or history known as, and 4 extra credits.
When it comes to academia world, the minimum qualification back then in 2012 was to have at least a master degree. But right now, the minimum requirement would be a PhD in law.
To be practicing as a lawyer, you will need to have a certificate of legal practice if you don't have your bar exams. So the CLP paper is a tough paper. We are hoping to convert the CLP into a common bar exams soon. After you finish that paper, you pass the paper, you have to actually go through 9 months of pupillage with a master. And at the end of the 9 months, then you'll be called to the bar and you are a full-fledged lawyer. To practice on the field, depending on what you actually really want to do as a lawyer, if you want to practice, let's say, Islamic financing, yes, you may have to take up a certain certificate course and etc. just to get that extra certification. If you want to be an arbitrator, there's a course for that. So yes, you can actually branch out a lot when you start practicing, depending on what you want to focus on.
When you talk about the most important things, is that you have to be prepared and you have to mentally prepare yourself when you step into this course, because it's a demanding course. It demands a lot of attention, discipline, and also the love for the course itself, where you have to be, okay, this is the course that I really want to deal myself in. I'm putting myself in this position due to the fact that I want to practice law or any other fields and careers that require a law degree. So one of the couple of things that I would say is very important is the determination, the discipline, and basically the drive of wanting to do law.
So when anyone would like to embark or thinking of career change to become an academic, I think one of the number one characteristic that a person needs to have is to be receptive to change, as well as to strive to be a better lecturer, because a lecturer is not only comes to teaching, but it also involves other responsibilities as well. So as long as you're receptive, so you'll be able to excel in the academia world.
This is something that I share with all my students. You need to have passion for law, passion for the work that you do. Regardless of whether you want to be a lawyer, you want to be a doctor, an engineer, and all that, you don't take up a job just because it is a job. You actually do what you want to do because you have love for it. So if you want to survive in the legal profession for a long period of time, you must have passion for the law, or else, based on our survey, most of the young lawyers will actually think and consider their vocation in the law profession after 3 years. So yes, please have passion for the law.
So funny thing with the misconception in when you enter law is that only Indians do law. It's not really that. The majority in my campus do law are Chinese and Malays and also Indians. So it's a mixed group. And another misconception is going to be it's a dying career or it's a dying field of work because there's too many lawyers in our country and whatnot. But it's not true due to the fact that there are many lawyers. Yes, I consider the fact there are many lawyers, but there are not many lawyers in every single sectors. So just because you believe that one sort of job is taken off, you should not just justify it by saying the whole course is dead or is too overly populated. because there are many other jobs that require an individual to have a law degree or to have a legal understanding on how things work. So that was a couple of misconceptions that I faced.
So there is a big misconception that for those who cannot work, they teach. But when I've experienced teaching itself, it's not an easy task at all. It's not merely having a blackboard or whiteboard to teach, but it requires a lot of mentally equipped in terms of skills to develop students as an individual, as a leader, as well as you also need to have the ability to lead the entire department as well as to manage at the management level. So it is actually involves a lot of roles and responsibilities. So it's not just merely teaching.
The most popular misconception would be that lawyers make money immediately and that because you're a lawyer, you're going to earn big bucks. So there's going to be a rude shock when you actually get into the legal profession and you realize what's your starting salary like. So no, lawyers do not make money immediately.
So when you talk about did it change my view on the law in the course? Yes, because first of all, many people said that it's going to be a very tiring course. It's going to be a course that doesn't give you rest at all. It is true to a certain extent, but if you are smart with it, you know how you deal your time with it, you would be actually enjoying the course and you'll also be having a lot of fun while studying it because there's a lot of interesting facts and deals that you learn in the course itself. And it's not really that big of a problem if you are managing your time properly.
So after experiencing lecturing at university level, so that's when I realized the dedication that my lecturer at university have put into, because it's not only limited to lecturing what they know to us, but it's all about developing student skills, and at the same time they do a lot of work in terms of revising the syllabus, as well as deal with industry partners, as well as to manage the entire institution. So it involves a lot of responsibilities.
Being in the field, now that you actually do your own, you have your own practice, you practice law, you go to court, you fight cases. It has changed my view. Not everything will go your way. We always want to fight for justice. We are passionate about what we believe in, but things may not always go your way. So just because you think that, hey, my client's actually really innocent, but in the end, the judgment goes the other way around. So you have to take it as it is. There's always a right of an appeal. Do not be disheartened. I know of some lawyers that actually feel so upset that, why they keep on losing cases when, it's unfair for their clients. Keep on fighting. That's all I can say.
Some of the misconceptions that my fellow family and friends had is that it's a lengthy course. It's a course that, like I said, doesn't give you rest, and it's a course that is overly populated by people. So when you really think about it, it's not so, because every course in the university will be overly populated. There are too many doctors, there are too many business administratives, there are too many engineers. It's about you putting yourself in the situation and trying to be the best that you can. Because when you put yourself in a place where you try to be the best, you will see the effort, you would see the opportunities arise because you are trying to be the best. And things that people don't understand is that without working too hard, they can't expect things to come to yourself. So when you work hard, put in the effort that is required and go far and beyond, you would see yourself succeed in this course.
So with regards to anyone being in the academic world, so even though they feel that any academic who teaches at any institution, they consider it as a noble profession. But of course, there is a misconception in terms of the majority of members of the public. It's for those who cannot survive the real working world. But in actual fact, academia is one of the working world itself. So again, it's not all about lecturing, but it involves a lot of bigger picture, requiring lecturer to do so much more than just lecturing.
That lawyers will have lots of money. When can you send money over to us? Can you sponsor me this? Can you sponsor me that? So it's always about that lawyers have lots of money.
Okay, if you talk about my own schedule, myself during lectures, I like to take small notes, not excessive and complex notes. It's simple notes or keywords that are given by the lecturers during their presentations, because in the exam, you won't be remembering slide 1 to slide 23 completely. You'll be remembering keywords. And I used this technique in my high school in SPM where I was studying history, where we memorized keywords and key dates to help us, to give us like a sparkle of information where you can mentally link two different things together by having one single keyword. And that's one that I do. I do simple notes and I try to revise a month before my exam to further prepare myself and get myself more familiar with the whole topic that's in hand.
So what my daily life looks like is, in addition to teach, I also had to mentor student, and in addition to that, we had to draft exam papers, moderate exam papers, draft assignment question, marking, and moderate assignment answers. We also have to do data collection for our research papers. We have to write journal articles. We also have to attend meeting. We constantly have to network and engage with industry partners. So in one day, I'll probably work more than 8 hours because it involves a lot of tasks, even just for one day for one lecturer.
Day to day, when I'm working from Mondays to Fridays, I get a lot of distractions. Let's say I start in the morning at 9 till 10, I'll get calls. Actually, not even 9 to 10, 9 till 5, I'll be getting phone calls, messages, SMSs, emails that requires attention. They will ask for advice. So you don't actually get proper time to actually sit down and do your own legal work, research-wise, to prepare contracts, to prepare your pleadings for cases. It's a little bit tough, but that is our day-to-day. A lot of distractions. But other than that, normally in the morning, if you're a court-going lawyer, you'll go to court. If there's a hearing, it may take 1 or 2 hours. You'll be back in office by 11 or 12. Then you'll have to attend to your colleagues, your staff, your fellow lawyers, engage them, find out what's happening, maybe give some legal advice here and there. Then by afternoon, that's when we actually do our actual paperwork. We'll be on laptops working.
If you talk about the changes that the law subject itself has given to me in my day-to-day, is that I see things more analytically. I try to analyze situations and justify what is two individuals are doing in that current situation. If I give you a simple example, it would be like if there's two people having an argument or disagreement, I try to see them as two different parties, which is in law terms is defendant and appellant. So what law gives me is that it gives me a way of mind and way of thinking where I can justify who is in the right, who's in the wrong, and why so, to justify my help towards resolving the whole situation.
So because law is everywhere around us, law governs our everyday lives. So as long as we conduct our behavior in accordance to law, so law doesn't restrict any movement or any of my interests or passion. So I have the liberty to do or enjoy anything that I love. So I think law would not hinder anyone from doing anything.
I think it's an issue of discipline. I've been told that lawyers in KL work until very late at night. Those in big cities, I've actually seen Singaporean lawyers working up till 4 o'clock in the morning. I know some big firms in Kuala Lumpur, they are open 24 hours a day because they do international work. So lawyers actually sleep in the office. They don't even go back home. It is, again, as like I said, an issue of discipline and how you want to practice your own life. You join the law firm that they expect you to work 24 hours a day, then yeah, that's the life you're going to go into. But for me, I think work-life balance is very important. So for me, after 5, maximum maybe by 7, I shut down everything. I avoid phone calls. I avoid giving legal advice after 7 o'clock so that I can spend time with my family. Weekends is a clear day for my family, so I don't do any legal work. I make it a point that I can prioritize my work. What can wait will wait till the next working day. So if it's a Saturday, you have to wait until Monday for me to do it. Unless it is actually really urgent, I will assess it, then yes, I'll spend a little bit of time doing my client's work over the weekends. But other than that, I make it a point that family comes first. And for my whole office, that's the same. The same principle applies.
My opinion on the course and advise fellow individuals who want to do the course that law is a beautiful thing. It's a extensive, draining, straining course, but if you do have the passion for it, it's familiar with or similar with any other course. If you have the passion for it, you have the drive for it, you would succeed. But with law, the difference is that you see your progression day to day, because everything is a continuous cycle in law. You learn one thing, there's always something more to learn. And that's the fun thing about law, because there's always something new to read up, to know about, or to justify. And if I want to give an advice to another fellow person who wants to take up law, you must be well prepared to work hard, be driven, and be very responsible with your own time management, your self management, due to the fact that it's a demanding course and it's not an easy course that some people might say, because there's a lot of memorizing, there's a lot of understanding, and there's a lot of like how to say this, you'll be putting yourself through a lot, but there's always an end goal. Like you give it, like people gotta say that there's always an end goal in life, and I believe law course is a very fruitful and giving course at the end of the day.
So especially when we live in an environment which involves constant change, and the fact that COVID-19 pandemic has actually forced everyone in the entire world to adapt to change in an ad hoc manner. So my advice to future students is always be receptive to change, always be enthusiastic to embrace new things, because life around us involves a lot of changes. So if we reject changes, we're going to be left far behind, as opposed to those who are more optimistic, more willingness to embrace changes. So my advice to students is just to persevere, be patient, and just follow your passion to achieve your dreams.
This is something I want to share, which I've also shared with a lot of my own fellow lawyers in my office. Law students feel that they got to study just law and law and law and do your masters in law and learn as much about the law as you can. Well, it's good to learn a lot about the law, but general knowledge is also very important. And if you actually neglect having this general knowledge, that you don't pursue reading up books about other fields, you are going to be caught behind, because now the law field is not just focused on law. The law field transcends the legal sphere. It actually goes into the medical field. If you're going to take medical law issues, then you need to know about medicine. You need to know about the industry, hospital industry, engineering. You need to know about building. You need to know about accounts. You know, most people say that they study law because they're bad in accounts. I fail my accounts, that's why I'm a lawyer. You can't escape accounts, okay? Because you have to manage clients' account. When you take up a case, there's an issue of CVT, criminal breach of trust. You actually have to look at the statement of accounts. You want to take legal action for somebody who has not paid for your client's delivery of goods. You have to look into the invoices. You have to look into the statement of accounts. You have to do the calculation on interest. So, general knowledge, you need to be aware of a lot of things, have that ability to engage your clients. They expect lawyers to be knowledgeable, not just knowledgeable of the law, but knowledgeable in general.